Yeah, true that. Oh God. Like,
You know, I'm me Mlaba, so it could be one of those.
Two. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Miller, can you hear me? Thank you, sir. Nakolo, can you hear me? Thank you so much. All right. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient. We're about to start shortly. We're asking for a few house rules. If there is a neighbor sitting right next to you with no headsets on, please just kindly help them in this process. It's an easy plug and play. Headphones on, plug it into your blue stereo system, and it should go on.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Thank you for joining us. I just want to make sure that we are all here for the same purposes. But I also want to be sure that I can hear you loud and clear. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask you to just confirm the session that you are attending here today. So I usually start with the people at the back. Let me start with oh, she's still putting on her mic. Let me, the second row, perhaps, very quickly, just one quick, if you could just, so that I can be sure that I can hear you. What session are you here for? Okay, let me remind you, the topic is about impacting tourism from the ground up. But I just want to be sure that you are in the right session. Very quickly, please. Anyone, just let me know. Thank you. No, but I'm not sure if that's the one, so I need to be sure. Oh, oh, sorry. I thought you are here for the basic quality voice auditions. So, the people who are at the back, if you don't mind coming to the front, because for the BQV that I'm moderating, we start usually with the people at the back.
So we have to sing, do we?
Yes, that's what we are here for. So, shall we start with you, Nikki?
I'm Nikki Moore. I'm a journalist. You can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. And at least I know you are here for the right session, basic quality verification. Let me call my panelists up front. Let me start with Soza Simango. She's the director for enterprise development. He is with the National Department of Tourism. Thank you very much, sir. And the next panelist is Ayanda Zondi, Director Tourism Transformation, KwaZulu-Natal Department of Economic Development and Tourism. Thank you very much, ma'am. Samora Nkweniso, he's the Manager Transformation Tourism KwaZulu-Natal. And then I have Ubabo Amimi Mlaba. He's the Chief Executive Officer for East Tumba Travels. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, let me call Nokolo Daniel. She's the National Quality Assurance and Development Manager for the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa. Thank you very much. I was going to moderate this panel standing, but I realized that I'm going to strain your necks. So if you don't mind, I'll take a seat. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us. Now that we are clear that you are here for the National Grading Council's Basic Qualification Verification Panel, we can kick off. I think it's important to highlight that the basic verification is really around quality assurance and ensuring that not just your product, but the entire tourism plan of this country is competitive. So why am I highlighting that? To just state that it's a very critical component of building the competitiveness of South Africa's tourism. And so here with us to explain what if you don't mind, I'll use the BQV, what it is about and what it seeks to achieve. I'm going to kick off straight and ask Nokolo to just explain to us what the basic quality verification is in the context of the broader quality assurance regime of this country. Nokolo, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Basic Quality Verification is a program that is owned by the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa. As you are aware, we are the custodians of ensuring that we have graded establishment in South Africa. The committee in Parliament, being the portfolio committee in Parliament of Tourism, requested us to ensure that establishments that are in the VTSDs are quality assured. As mentioned, that we are the custodians of ensuring that graded establishments are quality assured. We came up with the basic quality verification that ensures that properties that are in the VTSDs are quality assured through this program. We focus being on your villages, small towns, township and dorpies as the establishment. We are making use of unemployed graduates to ensure that they are trained in this program to quality assure these products.
Ah, brilliant. Thank you very much. So the program plays a critical role in market access, but it also creates employment from what you say, and at the same time improves the standard of our tourism plan. Okay,
Absolutely.
great. Thank you very much for that, Nokolo. Let me, just before I move on to Samora, just post-COVID, what are some of the challenges that you are experiencing, especially in terms of quality assurance across the value chain?
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, that this program focuses on the VTSDs, being the products that are in the villages, small township and dorpies. There's usually infrastructural issues, access to tourist markets and that type of thing. And there's also lack of funding, which is why it's important for us to ensure that we partner with the tourism, with the National Department of Tourism, being the enterprise development, to ensure that these products are incubated and that they are developed through this program.
Great. No, thank you very much for that clarification. Well, Samora, let me come to you. From what Nokolo says, there's quite clearly challenges, but there seems to be opportunities that have come up, especially for the lesser known areas, products out in the rural areas, and because it seems post-COVID people seem to be hankering for those kinds of experiences. Just take us through the rationale as to why we should support such establishments.
Okay, thank you, Mila. No, basically for us, particularly as tourism KwaZulu-Natal, our interest is really to ensure that we fulfill the mandate when it comes to geographic spread and making sure that we drive an inclusive tourism approach by bringing in, tourism products and experiences that are outside, the beaten track and outside the major cities. Now, for us really is to also commend TGCSA for affording the province that opportunity, because not everyone qualifies, to be part of the formal grading process. So then this gives us an opportunity to sort of enhance and improve the value proposition for such establishments like your homestays, small guest houses, and B&Bs. With that minimum quality assurance, then it sort of, promises good quality for guests and visitors. So it does align, greatly with our strategy, for instance, for rural tourism. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So your approach is basically supportive of transformation, but the bigger process of destination development. So let me bring you here because you have a responsibility in terms of the supply side, I believe, of tourism and things such as destination development. So in your view, in fact, to add on to what Samora has just said, how does the department then support the whole initiative to bring on board all these establishments and enterprises?
Okay, thanks, program facilitator. I think let me first indicate that for the Department of Tourism, this is a very groundbreaking program because it actually ticks a number of our strategies and objectives. So, the department and SAT and the Grading Council plus some of the provincial agencies in tourism, we share a common objective of actually growing an inclusive tourism development. And if you look at the current pattern of tourism distribution and consumption, it's mainly in major cities and what we call tourism hotspots. So this program is catalytic in the fact that it's taking tourism to rural villages and towns and dorpies. So for us, this actually helps us achieve a lot of our objectives. In the department, we have the Enterprise Development Program, which supports SMMEs in the industry, and we have had an engagement with the Grading Council that we are going to syndicate our enterprise development services with this program. So the Grading Council will go in and do the basic verification and select those establishments that they think have the potential to be taken to the next level. And we come in to actually help the people who run the businesses to understand business, to understand hospitality, to bring in their workers to actually get basic skills to actually run these businesses. And we are going to put a 2-year program that we will run. We know that in the past 2 years they were in the Eastern Cape, so we are going there in this financial year to actually start piloting that development process. And then in the next financial year, we'll be able to then come back to KZN and structure a business development program for that.
Great. So the program in the Eastern Cape was essentially a pilot, and are you happy with the results you're seeing there?
Well, the results show us all the the critical needs that are required by the operators and the operating challenges within the business environments. But we still have to go in ourselves and observe and compare the results coming out from the report and what we see on the ground. And it is on that basis that we'll structure together a program and roll out.
Okay, I think we'll touch on the precise process and requirements when it comes to KZN, but I would imagine it's a similar, the requirements are the same. Let me take a pause. I'm going to come back to that one. Let me come to Ayanda and Amimi in the province here. Let's start with you, Amanda. Obviously, you must be excited as well that the program will come in KwaZulu-Natal, but what sort of outcomes or results are we expecting to see when the program comes to KwaZulu-Natal?
Thank you, Mila. For us as a province, when the program was announced, for us it was a bonus because it was a program that we were really thinking of as a result of the work that we have done with the Grading Council and Tourism KwaZulu-Natal in saying how do we quality assure products that are not ready to be graded. So to us, it was then a bonus. So what we want to see coming out of this is seeing commonalities in terms of the service standards, not only the grading standards. For us, we know that we might not come out with graded establishments, but we want to see common standards within all the assessed establishments throughout the villages and the towns that will be assessed. And for us is to say, let us take this further and not only look at the establishment, but also look at what other interventions as the province we can do out of this program. What other interventions we can do out of this. Let us not leave it only to the products. If we're talking about service, let them look at other areas. We will look at customer care, we will look at hospitality areas, but let us go and say, we've been into this village, we've been into this town, what can we do? Department of Tourism, I always forget, has got your small town program. How do we piggyback on that in the towns that we've looked at in this program? So how do we enhance? Let's not only look at the grading, but let's look at the other. So for us, this basic verification program is opening further interventions. And also as a department, we had done some interventions in some of the products that are looking at where we have done basic training. So they've been enhancing further to those and upskilling to them. But at the end of the day, we want to come out and say, let us go to these areas and say, this is the service that we want to see when we say we are taking a visitor, and this is what we really want to go there. But what we also want to see coming out of this is products that are registered. KZN, all products need to be registered with the department. So at the end of the day, we need to also tackle that issue. We need to make sure that all products that are part of this program are legal at the end of the day. So we'll have to touch, as the province, at the legal issues that are hindering some of these businesses in complying. So we will touch on the compliance issues as the department. So for us, that is critical, that the intervention that is coming will have to be at the end of the day end up with complying businesses that we will be assured that should be any intervention that comes, they will be qualified to say if there is access to finance, they'll be able to tap into that because they have all the legal documentation to do that. So for us as a province, that is we want to see coming out of this.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. And it strikes me that for products and services, establishments, there's not a reluctance as such to be registered or even quality assured or verified. I think there might be a cost with regard to compliance. So it might be good to just clarify how do we kind of lower those costs in terms of cost of compliance and ensure that the products are still at the level where you want them. But let me come to you, Amimi. You are a product owner, you are a service provider, you are in this business. Maybe share with us your views on the verification system and how do you see it benefiting, obviously, businesses like yourself?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. The Isitumba Adventure Park has been running for the past 15 years or more. And our main challenge, the reason why we've been going up and down, has been that we don't have as much people qualified in the space. And so a program like this one will certainly assure our establishment that it can go for a longer period of time. And so we think that that's a huge benefit for us because we don't just offer one package. We have multiple packages. So people can come there and stay overnight. We've got camping sites. We do canoeing, hiking up the Isitumba Mountains. And for that, if you want to bring tourists from all over the world, you need to have people qualified to take those people around. And, we have a huge problem in South Africa. We build infrastructure and we don't train people to use infrastructure, and we have a problem of vandalism. So to prevent that, we are very thankful to the TGCSA to actually intervene on such and ensure that this is taking a different direction. Just to touch on something, even considering the idea of training people when it comes to learning new languages in the tourism industry, not just in the village, but even in the areas like Durban, it would actually help attract more people from different parts of the world wanting to come here. As we see the cruise ships coming into the city, we need more people speaking more languages so we can attract more people. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Amimi. Nokolo, Amimi raises a very important point around training, capacity building to ensure, obviously, the quality of service is on par with what you are looking to achieve. So how does
And of course, the idea is that we would like to see the very same students graduate to formal grading assessors so that one day they are able to grade hotels, bed and breakfasts, guest houses, etc. So we want to be able to see that growth as well.
Great. Well, I'm also getting a little bit jealous that maybe we should be looking at my province as well, where I come from. But I will leave that for later. Let me just find out. Are you planning to roll the program out nationally, and what's the projection there?
Okay. Yes, we definitely are planning to roll out to the different provinces. We piloted it in the Eastern Cape between the period October 2020 to October 2021, where we verified over 185 products and qualified through the criteria of this program 71 products. And one product through this program actually graduated to formal grading and was qualified as a bed and breakfast. The property is in KZN, as I said. This program is very, very popular, and as I did mention earlier, that the Portfolio Committee of Tourism supports it, and the idea is obviously to roll it out to different provinces. KZN was the first province that we rolled it out to after the pilot that we ran in the Eastern Cape. So we are looking at definitely rolling out to the different provinces. We're looking at 4, hoping and crossing our fingers that we'll be able to get funding to be able to be supported.
Great. No, thanks. Let me pause and check if there are questions before we move on to the second segment. Not at this stage. Yeah, okay, let's take those 2-3 questions and then we'll move on to the next segment just to make sure that we are all together. You have them here. You asked all the questions you would like to know. Shall we start at the front here? Where's the mic? Mic.
Hi, thank you. My name is Kobe from Ghana. I'm a blogger. Okay, so you mentioned that you want to make sure that there's a conscious effort in promoting tourism in the rural communities. And that's a very key note, because in as much as that we are focusing on building that capacity and tourism in the cities, we must also not leave the rural communities out. Now, what are some of the steps that you're going to take or employ in making sure that consciously there's an effort of creating that enabling environment for the people in the rural communities? Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Kobe, for that. I think that there was a question right here in the front here.
Good morning, all colleagues. I'm from Tembisilahane local municipality under Mpumalanga. Our district is Kangala district. This program is a very good program. I did saw it around Eastern Cape, and now it's in KwaZulu-Natal. I did do a follow-up on that. But I love that program must come to Mpumalanga also, where I come from, a rural area, and we really, really need it. Especially our youth, the level for our statistics for our youth is, for job creation, is very low at the site of KwaNdebele. So I will be very happy if this program can come to us, because as well, I can tell you now that the Tourism Month celebration will come for Mpumalanga in Tembisile, and we are in a rural area. So I would love to have these programs to come to us so that we can also implement these things around when we have the guests by us. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have a third question here.
Thank you. My name is Nolwazi from Albert's Cove BNB in Hilton. I'm asking on behalf of my colleagues that I will go back to advise on this program that have not been graded, and because they've been advised that maybe they're not even close. How do I communicate it in an informative manner? Not to say just go to the website. I'm out in the outskirts of Pietermaritzburg. What do I give them? How do I support them? Because the ones that are gradable, I know I channel them to the assessor that assesses me. But this particular one, I'd like to take it to them, informative, and give them hope. What's the process and the rollout? Thanks.
Okay, great. Not all. You'll take Nolwazi's question, And Samora, you take the question around ensuring that you create an enabling environment when you move the program to the rural areas. And then the third one, which I support, is how the next province should be in Mpumalanga. And specifically, did you say Tembisile Hani or the district municipality, is the local municipality? Or the entire province, yeah? Okay. I'll come back to you on that one again, Norcol.
Okay. So to answer your question, we are available obviously here. Our stand is on the other side. That's our reception. With regards to the basic quality verification, I am the contact. If anyone is interested to join, as I did mention that we have a service provider that is appointed to project manage the program for us in KZN. We have received a database because we work very closely with the district municipalities together with TKZN to ensure that we receive the database of products that are not quality assured through TGCSA formally. So we would have such products on that database. However, should there be products that wish to be formally graded, obviously there is an assessor in each and every province, and we also have provincial quality assured specialists that are based in the provinces that are able to speak to such products. We also ran quality assuring workshops within the different provinces and municipality where we preach the gospel of quality assurance. So I'm more than welcome to speak to you after this on the side with more information.
Okay, great. Samora?
Okay, yeah, I think that is a very critical question around creating an enabling environment for rural communities to actually play part in the sector. I think one can attest to the fact that it is not an easy task, you know, given the fact that tourism in its own form and shape does have an element of being specialized. But with that said, one of the critical areas where we make sure that we bring everyone along is to make sure that in terms of our coordinating structures in the province, you know, we've got your district tourism forums, we've got your local tourism forums, we've got your community tourism organizations, which then becomes a forum for tourism businesses that are already operating. So by so doing, we also make sure that we raise awareness, because there's a serious awareness issue. Then would visit various districts, working with these forums to make sure that the message does go to the rural villages and townships to say what are the opportunities that are there within the sector. And then from an enterprise development point of view, we are deliberate in recruiting, you know, the ones that have showed interest to say we want to participate in the sector, to actually capacitate those and make sure that we help with market access, capacity building, and what have you. And I think one of the critical issues around this as well is the lobby that we continue to do with your local municipalities to say, for instance, around issues of accreditation or formalization, you know, of these businesses, to say they should also sort of pay more attention to the tourism sector. As you know, there are competing sectors of the economy in terms of local economic development, but we then push more and lobby more for those councils to actually, you know, take tourism seriously as a job driver and a catalyst that would build local economies.
Great.
And maybe lastly, it might be premature. I think one of the things that we're working on together with the department is to establish tourism clusters in KwaZulu-Natal. By so doing, then you address all other areas in terms of the tourism value chain. You'd bring in your local farmers or producers to be part of the sector. As you know, tourism becomes cross-cutting, you know, from an economic development point of view. So with those clusters, we're hoping to enhance, you know, our efforts to make sure that everyone within a village, a region, you know, becomes part of the ecosystem.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. Now, let me give you a pause and take Soza. The question around how do you decide which kind of province you pilot next, maybe you could respond to that. I think the reason I said yes when she said Mpumalanga and Nkangala district municipality in particular, it's because I know that you have challenges that I think your program actually could solve: high youth unemployment, products that are now being almost refurbished, and a huge biodiversity economy that could support the kind of interventions you are doing. So what sort of process do you follow, and would Mpumalanga be on the cards next as the third province?
Well, I think in terms of the BQV, as I've already indicated, we follow the grading council. So they have to go in first and do the verification, give us the feedback, and then we go in and structure a program and then take the process forward. But we also have a number of, business support interventions as a department that we offer across the country. I think a year or so ago, we ran a 3-year, business incubator in the Manyeleti area of Mpumalanga, where we offered business support for over 50 enterprises. And these business incubators actually move across the country, but the focus is actually rural, towns and dorpies. So, there is a number of offerings that the department actually, gives to businesses. There is a stand just across where we are sitting called the Hidden Gems Pavilion, which is actually supported by the Department of Tourism under our tourism incentive programs. You've got 120 SMMEs that have been supported with non-financial business support over the years, and they've been, given sufficient, growth mechanisms for them to be able to now come to a trade show such as Indaba. So there is a lot of, work that we do for many rural areas in the country.
Okay, great. So Amimi, let me come to you. Not all I'll give you. I think the Soza has covered that one. So let me skip that. Let me come to you, Amimi. In terms of, Nokolo mentioned that one of the establishments moved from a basic verification into grading. So I think that's a significant, achievement. So how, in your view, what more could be done to ensure that you can actually progress these establishments from the basic quality verification to the next level?
Well, you see, we know that in most rural areas, people do not expect to see something that is, say, 5-star or beyond that. But because we are not only running the tourism products there, we also run a non-profit company that focuses on educating the youth through sporting activities. And by so doing, we're ensuring that the community grows with what we're doing. So at the time when we get there, we will be having people that definitely understands what's happening, and the quality of the venue will be at the next level, and it will be attracting a variety of people from all over the world, because we come from an era where we used to have people staying in families. And that would mean from staying in families into the center, which is more like the backpacking style, and moving from the backpacking style into a 5-star hotel in the valley. That will be a huge move for us and the community at large. So I think it will definitely be of great benefit. Thank you.
Great. And it's not impossible, isn't it? I mean, it is doable. But obviously, it needs to be authentic, and you say it's a 5-star without necessarily trying to copy something else out there in the main center or a city. Ayanda, what is your thought of that progression from basic qualification to a graded establishment that still offers an authentic experience, even if it's right in the village there?
For us, I think it's a bonus because as a province we adopted a rural and township revitalization strategy last year, which got a pillar of tourism and it's got quite a number of interventions pertaining to tourism. So that then directs us clearly to say, as tourism, we need to look at rural areas and township areas in terms of upgrading establishments and products that are in township. So our focus is to say establishments that are already existing in those areas need to be upgraded. We need more 3-star, 4-star, 5-star establishments. We need to start to have products that we say, you know, when you come here, you get that experience. So that is what we are aiming at, and that is what that strategy is advocating. So as a province, we are moving towards that through that particular strategy. So we are working with communities, and all our interventions that we are doing are also directed towards that. We are not saying we are moving away from doing anything in urban areas, but we are saying our focus now is more on our rural areas to say, let us have these products that are of that particular standard. So we will be working very hard with our communities to ensure that we assist in whatever way possible to ensure that programs that are implemented in those particular areas are effective, and we work with them to make sure that once they have completed, they don't die.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. As we move towards closing, Nokolo, for those enterprises or entrepreneurs or business owners who are out there and still thinking, but what value does this have? Yeah, whether I'm graded or verified, etc. I'm running a business. Maybe it doesn't make a difference to my bottom line. What would you say to them? How would you try and encourage them to come on board?
On Bond Day, our ACO mentioned trust.
Okay, yeah.
So when tourists from abroad would make bookings, there has to be a trust factor in terms of the accommodation that you want to book at. So the Grading Council provides that stamp of quality assurance. So for me, as much as, yes, some products may say, I do have bums and beds and all of that, but do you have that quality assurance? That's very important. And you need to remember what South African tourism does. Marketing South Africa is a quality assured destination. So that's where the quality assurance for me then comes in.
Okay, great. I think that makes perfect sense, and especially in 2023 AC, somebody taught me yesterday, after COVID, there's a lot of that the travelers want: confidence in your destination, and trust in the service and product that you're offering. Let me come back to our lovely audience here and find out if there are questions. Let me see. There is a question at the back there. There is a question at the back there. Okay, and 2 more questions. Oh, there's one. Oh, it's 3 in 1. Okay, there's a 3 in 1 out there.
Good morning. My name is Sindisiwe Nzimande. I am an academic at Menkosa. So my question is, with regards to capacity building, what is your role in ensuring that there's curriculum transformation especially when you look at tourism and what we have to offer as institutions? Do you also have partnership with institutions to ensure that the graduates that you take into your program are actually trained for basic quality verification and other things that you require when you absorb these students? What are some of the things that you require? Because you find that a lot of graduates, especially from the public institutions, they do have the qualification, but that they are not in possession of the certificate, because obviously they owe the institution and the likes. So do you also take those when you do the recruitment of these students? Because that is very important with especially institutions where we know students NSFAS doesn't pay on time and they graduate but do not have the actual certificates with themselves. What do you do to ensure you also support those students in ensuring that they get the skills that you want for your program? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take your question, ma'am.
Hi. Thank you, panelists. Good morning, everyone. I want to commend you on the Enterprise Development Initiative, critical to the development of the broader landscape and distributing benefits. Oh, my name is Lisa Scriven from Fairtrade Tourism. Sorry.
Thank you.
We've been working in standards and certification for the past 22 years in the region. What I was wondering, it's really, the next step in the development is linking to the markets. The market research saying the demand for sustainability. I mean, we deal with buyers all the time who are looking for homestays, looking for these small products, because in their own commitment, they want to be supporting those. However, in that, they also want the assurance that these businesses are embracing the concepts of sustainability in their own products. And I'm sure that they are. Yep. Featuring culture, respecting local heritage, being aware of water use, like the basics I'm talking about. But what I'm wondering is if the basic verification includes those aspects, because it would be a wonderful opportunity to sort of catapult, the quality and sustainability in one, and then you can access this market without having to add on later.
Okay. Great, makes sense. Critical questions around training and capacity building, but also the issue of sustainability that has been raised. It sounds like that question requires yours and Samora's attention, of course.
Okay. So on the quality assurance being part of the curriculum for hospitality, definitely it is there. I actually visited the hotel school, the Swiss hotel school, a couple of weeks ago, and I spoke to a hospitality lecturer. And she actually confirmed that quality assurance is definitely part of the curriculum. To emphasize that TGCSA are the custodians of quality assurance in South Africa. There is no other body that is affiliated to government that does what we do. So definitely it is part and parcel of the curriculum. With regards to the sustainability factor, I like what she mentioned in terms of ensuring that businesses that are in the community would support each other. What we want to achieve through this program is to ensure that there are no major changes that we are going to do in terms of businesses. As I mentioned, that we are making use, firstly, of unemployed graduates that are part and parcel of the community. So that's very, very important that that skill is used within the community. Also, what we encourage through this program is that if, let's say, for instance, there is a product that offers hiking and that type of thing, so when tourists book into a particular homestay, we need to ensure that the homestay owner markets that product that is within that community, so as to ensure that money revolves around the community and that activities that are happening within the community are supported by the tourist that's visiting the community to ensure that sustainability effect.
Great. Does that cover your question? I think she's answered the sustainability issue, but you were looking for a broader response in terms of other elements of sustainability. Is that the case? I see you shaking your head.
I think what I was wondering is just from, as you were saying, the buyer, the end consumer, or the operator, they want that trust.
Yes.
So they would need the assurance that what the basic verification is looking at includes sustainability elements.
Yes.
And it's then kind of holistic, all in one, and they can support it in good faith across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. We're moving towards closing. Now, with the pilot program, it's no longer a pilot. I think now you are in implementation mode.
Yeah.
Coming into KZN. What are the expectations, and how do you hope to get all the role players, enlisted, Samora?
No, for us, really, I think you used the magic word, which becomes critical most for the sector, for these initiatives: collaboration, partnership. For instance, with the question from the colleague from the Fair Trade Tourism Organization, then you want to partner with, such organization, particularly for community-based, tourism activities, and also make sure that from a market access point of view, we sort of educate and raise awareness, particularly to homestay owners in particular. As you would know, if you look at who consumes homestays, in the market, it would be your international visitors and what have you. And you also want to adhere to how they want to consume those products, So I think that's where then we come in as the provincial authority to say, how do we then raise that awareness and be deliberate to make sure that we prepare those homestays for them to actually understand the expectations. And also from a marketing point of view, we also extend in terms of our domestic marketing initiatives to ensure that we include the homestays and sort of position them in the market.
Great. Okay, thanks. So there's opportunity for partnerships and collaboration as well, in both ends. Your expectations and what should the program achieve for you from your perspective?
We expect a very good 2 years, hopefully, coming up, and that will see a lot of young people really participating in something that can transform their lives for the best. I'm a product of tourism myself. I grew up in a village of Isitumba where we had a lot of tour operators, and we want to see that coming back. Of course, with such an initiative, it certainly would. And you'll find that they will grow from what we're doing, and probably find them working in 5-star hotels, if not the big ships coming in and out of our shores.
Great. Let me come to you, Ayanda, from your perspective. What would you like to see, and what will success look like for you with this program?
I would say growth in terms of the businesses that would be within the program, in terms of the shift in mind of them taking their businesses seriously. Shift in them saying this is now a business, not a burden, but I think that whatever I make today, I would then go and buy tomorrow. But how do I understand that this is a business for me, and it has to grow and sustain, and also understand the market that they are servicing for them to ensure, and how do the community around them participate? Samora touched on collaboration. How do we ensure that there are collaboration within those particular areas so that everybody plays a role for successful tourism products to strive in a small town? It needs partnership. Everyone needs to play a role. A person that plants vegetable, the person that owns that B&B needs to go and buy that vegetable for that from that particular person that gets that plants that vegetable, so that that person also benefits from that business. So we need to ensure that we also communicate such, so that we know that we try and build that value chain, and also try to make the communities understand the value of tourism. We talk of tourism awareness, but how much do we really drill the issue of tourism awareness in a language that our communities understand? So how do we drill that down? So for me, the expectation is that as a province, we should not just take this program as a basic verification program for the products in the areas, but how do we ensure that we also empower the communities within those areas? Because we'll find that in an area we are not targeting one business, but we have got over 5 businesses in the area. So for us, that impact will be huge in that particular area. So we need to make sure that we empower the whole community, because in the next 5 years or so, the benefits in that community will be huge.
Great. Thank you very much. Sosa, very quickly to you, because I still need to play you a video clip out here. 20 KZN seconds, please.
Okay, I think for the Department of Tourism, this program helps us to implement the National Tourism Sector Strategy, where we have to ensure that there is inclusive tourism economic growth across the country. And for us, this is some journey of discovery, because we went into the Eastern Cape and boom, in one region found about 200 homestays and guest houses and stuff, which we didn't know exist. And that is a testament that there is some form of tourism that is taking place in those rural communities. So I think it's a challenge to all of us to actually understand what kind of tourism is happening, what can we do as government to actually stimulate that kind of tourism and ensure that there is, extended community benefits that comes out of that development.
Great. Sosa, thank you very much. I think you've summarized everything that has been said by our panelists here: inclusive economic growth, inclusion both across gender and youth, and capacity building, the issue of sustainability, getting diversification of the product and getting people to move around the country, not just being centered in one area. And Nokolo, there's only one grading council that you have to come through to be verified, and this is your person, your go-to person. Let me do this. We have a video clip to play, and once that's been done, please I request that you leave your headsets on your chairs. Let me thank this very, very exciting and brilliant panel of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they do deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Great. Shall we on? Thank you very much. Please, we can step off so they can play the video. Thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience. I didn't get you to sing, but we can do that in the next panel. Thank you.
Tucked away in small towns, charming dorpies and vibrant villages, little-known hotels, B&Bs, backpackers and homestays are waiting to be discovered, explored and loved. And we want to find you, the establishments who make up the foundation of our country's tourism industry, providing travelers with an authentically South African experience of our culture, landscapes and hospitality. We see you creating jobs and bringing in business for the businesses around you. Through our basic quality verification program, the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa opens the gateway to exceptional. Basic quality verification creates impact from the ground up by providing tourism establishments like yours in remote areas with access to resources, training, and funding opportunities. Let's build the foundations of tourism in South Africa together. Sign up to be verified today. The Tourism Grading Council of South Africa, proudly brought to you by South African Tourism.